Hey everybody, welcome to the RhizoCast. Today I'm going to be discussing Secret Origins, issue 23, The Floronic Man and the Guardians of the Universe. So this is from February 1988, or cover date February 1988. The reason I decided to read this is it says Veitch right here, which is of course Rick Veitch. I grew up never reading the DC books. I always thought DC stuff was for little kids or whatever. And I definitely never read an issue of Secret Origins before this. I did get into DC right before the Vertigo launch with the books that would turn into Vertigo books, Sandman, Hellblazer, Shade, all that. Doom Patrol. Anyway, so let's hop right in. So the first thing you notice, there's pretty many words on this page, and that's going to be true throughout this book. Maybe that's the whole series is done that way. I don't know, because it's the only issue I've read so far of this series. But I mean, it's kind of cool. It's a history lesson about the Guardians of the Universe. They're the guys that made the Green Lantern Corps and all that. So it's just going over the history of how they rose to power in the universe, the origin of them as a species on their planet, them moving to another planet, them trying to destroy themselves various times. It has so many words on here, but definitely it's of the set where the words are first and the pictures are illustrations rather than, what the best comics do is they really combine the two forms. Like, this would read almost the same without any pictures at all. But I mean, it is well drawn, but there's nothing particularly interesting about the panel design in this or anything. It's totally fine. And I do think, like, I have no knowledge of these characters, and sometimes I felt a little confused by the storyline, like it was supposed to be referencing something that I knew was common knowledge from the mythos that I had no idea of. I didn't know until reading this that their species split. The males become the Guardians of the Universe, and then the females, I assume, become the Sapphire Lanterns, but I don't go over that in this. Anyway, so and here's the origin. They form the Green Lantern Corps. I mean, it's fun, it's cool. Slight nod to, like, oh, I guess it's worth mentioning that we recruited Sinestro. The story of the Manhunters was cool. This is not long after Crisis of Infinite Earths, so they have to mention that. And this is during the Millennium event, which I have no idea of, and there's some references to that early on. Like, here's finally a page with a little bit of more interesting panel design, so that's cool. Also, for some reason that I don't know, the star of the next story appears in this panel as if they were considering using him as a Green Lantern. Supposedly they're at the Green Lantern base talking to some people who might become Green Lanterns. It's fine. But moving on, here we got the Rick Veitch story. So, right from the start, it kind of has an interesting storytelling technique where this is in Arkham Asylum. This is Killer Croc. He has a broken neck or whatever, and he's in paralysis, and he's just sitting there. It's interesting. present the idea that he's an intelligent dude rather than a monster, and he just pretends to be a monster to be able to dupe his foes or whatever. And because he's with it, but everybody just thinks he's mentally a vegetable in the first place. But anyway, it's like him just going over like what it's like in Arkham. This part is great. There's a new lady doctor here, and the one guy says to her, "You're very beautiful, doctor. I hope you haven't let it impair your intellectual functions." And she just goes, "I beg your pardon." It's great. It's great. But then Killer Croc is going over the impression he's given from some of these different characters. You got Two-Face, you got Scarecrow, you got the Joker, you got Clayface. I guess the Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and then Woodrow, or Woodrue, I'm not sure how to say it, who's also the Floroklepto. I don't even know how to say this name. The Floronic Man, that's right. Right up here, we got a Devo reference. It's the men's room and says, "Are we not men?" I like to think, like this one, everything, it's still super wordy for a comic, which, like I say, I guess that is part of this series. But this one is quite a bit more interesting take. There's a little more play with the panel design. So this is Killer Croc asks this guy to tell him a story. So he basically tells him his life story. And I have no idea if this origin for the Floronic Man is canonical, or it's supposed to be the Floronic Man is insane and he's just telling a story to Killer Croc. But it works either way. And I have one of my favorite comics of all time is definitely Swamp Thing Anatomy Lesson by Alan Moore. And that is the only comic I've ever read with Floronic Man in it. And I had no idea that he had made as many appearances in different things as it seems like he has based on these stories that he's giving. It's totally bonkers. He's like, seems like he was the god Pan or something on another planet, or there was a planet like that had the god Pan and stuff, and Floronic Man was some kind of Nazi type figure that was trying to kill off all the fairies and such. And then he got banned to Earth, where he encounters the Atom, is defeated by the Atom, keeps getting defeated by people. It's really bonkers. It would be interesting to get all these issues that have him, because probably they're not that expensive, and it'd be kind of fun to read through. But is this the part where there's one part where he's like where he's saying, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, and he is depicting himself the whole time as the hero, and the heroes as villains, which is kind of cool. It's a cool storytelling twist. And then here we go, some truly experimental non-panel design, I guess, but it still reads great. I like that this individual page, the artist puts their name on it, because I think they're going to sell that for something, or because that is the cool page of the thing, and it's his transformation from a human villain into the Floronic man. Then he has to face Green Lantern. This is where it's just he's talking about facing off the Green Lanterns, and it's like naively hoping that the Guardians might see the elegance of his thinking. Even the ring bearer could not. So he's like, he disarms Hal Jordan, and he basically tries to explain why his thinking is correct, and then the typical supervillain bloating, and then the hero's able to defeat them thing. But it's funny to have it referenced there. And then showing some more appearances, him in some kind of supervillain group. It's always funny to me that they bother to call themselves the Secret Society of Supervillains, and it's like, yeah, why then this guy who delusionally thinks he's some kind of hero and positive force in the universe, why would he join something that says it's villains? Anyway, like I said, the more cool panel design, or panelless design. Once again, Crisis had just finished a year or so ago, so this page is dedicated to how things worked in all that. And we're back to Killer Croc, and Killer Croc says, "This part of Woodrew's stories always got muddy. For some reason, he would never remember who his foes were, or where they fought, or even who had won. It was as if something had wiped his memory clean." So, I mean, I think that's great. It's like things turned into a mess. And part of the whole thing with Crisis on Infinite Earth was to help clean up the muddy continuity. So it's kind of funny referencing like that continuity got all screwed up there. And then boom, here we are. Anatomy lesson is referenced right here on this page. So that's what this page is about. I've never read this sequel story in Swamp Thing where he appears, so I don't know what all is going on with that story, but I probably should check it out because it's probably another Alan Moore Swamp Thing issue. And then here he is trapped. It is interesting that I don't think of him having anything to do really with the Green Lanterns, but they have the Green Lantern reference, I think, more so to tie in to the first half of the comic, which that's cool. And so then the next page is Croc had fallen asleep being told the story or whatever. He wakes up and he's like, oh, my buddy's gone. And then also he realizes he can move his neck for the first time, which they thought he would be permanently paralyzed. And the Floronic man has escaped Arkham Asylum. And then here he is. He's able to move his finger some too. So he's healing because he says because he's a reptile. And that is the end of the book. You can probably find this one pretty cheap. Definitely find it for under $5. If it seems like it was worth it to you, then go ahead and pick it up. It's fine. But like I say, it's filled with words. Like I would say it takes like 3 times as long to read as a typical comic. Whether that's good or bad is up to you. Definitely the second story is the story worth getting this for. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. See you guys again soon.